Imagine a world where the smallest, most ordinary routines quietly steer the course of our days, where victory and failure are often decided not by grand epiphanies, but by patterns you barely notice, morning rituals, the shape of a coffee break, the routes you take to work. Charles Duhigg set out to study those invisible forces. Trained at Yale and Harvard Business School, and long a reporter at the New York Times, he turned journalism into behavioral science. Rigorous reporting married to the question, why do we do what we do? The result was The Power of Habit and Smarter, Faster, Better, books that reveal how small changes ripple outward to transform lives, companies, and communities. At the heart of his work is a deceptively simple truth. Habits are the brain's way of saving energy. They allow us to automate behaviors so we can focus on more complex tasks. Once you see the mechanism, you can change the machine. Duhigg gives us a map. He calls it the habit loop. The habit loop consists of three parts: the cue, the routine, and the reward. Understanding this loop is the key to changing habits. A cue triggers behavior. The routine is the behavior. The reward confirms it, and the brain stamps the pattern into place. That loop explains why habits are stubborn and why they're also tractable. Some habits are individual. Some are catalytic, the keystone habits that unlock others. Keystone habits are small changes that can spark a chain reaction, leading to the transformation of other habits. A single keystone, sleeping earlier, making your bed, a daily walk, can tilt a life towards stability, clarity, and momentum. Imagine a morning across 3 different lives. On a train platform, a commuter unlocks their phone, scrolling headlines and messages before the doors even open. The day begins reactive, attention already fragmented. In a quiet apartment, an aspiring writer opens a laptop and writes for 30 uninterrupted minutes before checking anything else. The work compounds, confidence grows. In a conference room, a team leader starts every meeting with a simple ritual. 1 sentence from each person on what moved forward this week. Accountability rises, confusion fades, progress accelerates. These are not grand dramas. They are the quiet scenes where momentum is built or squandered. As Duhigg reminds us, small wins are a steady application of a small advantage. Over time, they build momentum and lead to significant change. Duhigg also exposes the illusions that make change harder. We tell ourselves willpower alone will fix things, yet willpower is like a muscle. It can be strengthened with practice, but it also gets tired if overused. We romanticize passion as a lightning bolt that suddenly redeems our work. But Duhigg warns, motivation is a skill, not a trait. It can be learned and cultivated through specific techniques. We praise busy calendars instead of strategic choices. Productivity isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter. It's about making choices that align with your goals. And when decisions pile up, our minds fray. Decision fatigue occurs when our ability to make good choices declines after a long period of decision-making. The key is to simplify and prioritize. These aren't moral failings. They're cognitive realities. Once we accept that, we can design around them. Duhigg doesn't stop at the individual. He shows how habits scale. Companies that win are not just lucky, they build systems where productive habits become automatic. High-performing teams have psychological safety, a shared sense of purpose, and clear communication. Work culture is the invisible force that shapes behavior. It's the habits and values that define an organization. When leaders focus on keystone practices, how people talk to each other, how meetings start, how failures are processed, the entire organization shifts. Duhigg's advice is practical and concrete. If you want to change, begin with structure. Diagnose the loop, name the cue, identify the routine, clarify the reward. With that map, you can redesign the routine while preserving the benefit you crave. Hunt for keystone habits. A single daily ritual, exercise, journaling, a short planning session can produce downstream changes in mood, focus, and productivity. Protect willpower strategically. Put important choices early in the day. Automate the small decisions so your mental energy is available for the meaningful ones. Use small wins. Track tiny successes and celebrate them. Momentum compounds. Build belief and community. Belief is essential for habit change. Without it, even the most well-designed plans can fail. Surround yourself with others who reinforce the new routine. Community is a powerful force for habit change. When we surround ourselves with supportive people, we're more likely to succeed. Learn from data and stories. Data points tell you what's happening. Stories tell you why people will care. Use both. Data is only useful if it's interpreted correctly. The key is to ask the right questions. Stories are how we make sense of the world. They shape our understanding and guide our actions. Duhigg's work also expands into how we think and lead. Good decisions come from clear mental models. Creativity can be cultivated through repeatable processes. Resilience grows from disciplined practice and small wins. Good decision-making is about creating mental models that allow you to predict outcomes and make informed choices. Creativity is not a mystical force, it's a process that can be cultivated through specific techniques. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks. It's a skill that can be developed through practice. He urges us to design environments for learning, for reflection, for recovery that align with how brains actually work. Reflection is the key to continuous improvement. It allows us to learn from our experiences and make better choices. Charles Duhigg's message is quietly revolutionary. You are not helpless before your routines. Habits can chain you to failure or free you to flourish. So tonight, notice the loops you live inside and ask, what cue sets my day in motion? Which routine returns as my default, and what reward does it give me? What one small keystone habit could begin to reweave everything else? Because change rarely arrives as an earthquake. It arrives as a series of small, deliberate shifts, one tiny victory after another. As Duhigg shows us, mastery is often less about willpower and more about design. Rearrange the cues, reshape the routines, invite belief, and the world you inhabit quietly, inevitably, becomes better. I'm grateful for the moments shared in discourse. May our paths cross again in the fullness of time.